Oh hey, didn't see you there. You see, I think Mario Kart 64 is an alright game, nothing too groundbreaking. So today, I'm going to see people who peaked in college and share my thoughts. Hopefully they respect my opinion. I mean, that went better than expected.
Mario Kart 64. It's a good one. Now, we may know Mario Kart is the game with dozens of unique tracks, endless replayability, and Tanuki Mario, but it wasn't always like this. Super Mario Kart is a game I went pretty in depth with on the channel before, so most of you know, I f***ing hate it. That's a little harsh, but the two main issues I had were the unfair AI and the tracks themselves. Listen, 2D functions, but just like my brain, barely. 2D isn't as bad as people state. But when we move to the N64, please, for the love of God, take us out of this hell. Yahoo! I spoke too soon.
Hey guys, Post-Dang Nintendo Nerd here. This video took over 100 hours to make, so if you can take at least 2 seconds to like and subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. Anyway, back to the video.
Regardless of how we view it now, Super Mario Kart was the start to an amazing series. And looking at it as a revolution for its time makes the whole experience a little less infuriating. And no matter what, this game sold like crazy, selling 8.8 million units in its lifetime. Now this is what put Mario Kart on the map. When it comes to making a sequel, the best thing Mario Kart can do in this case is making the game three-dimensional. Mario Kart 64 is definitely not bad compared to racing games of the time, as the game runs super smoothly and looks Now with that background info, we can move on to the development. The development of Mario Kart 64 can be traced back to 1995. We have a decent idea of the development of the game. The game in its early stages was called Super Mario Kart R. Aside from the mouthful that is that title, it was changed probably to keep it simple and also keep it away from that, which is probably for the best. Instead, we got Mario Kart 64, a pretty good title. Should be, since half the N64 library used the same name scheme. A stupid name wasn't the only thing that got changed. There are a ton of scrapped elements in the development. In particular, the big change was the removal of Kamek. In the final game, he was replaced with Donkey Kong, which was a smart choice in my opinion. I mean, if I showed you pictures of both of them and said only one could be in a go-kart, which would you honestly pick? Exactly. Other than that, the game had two completely scrapped maps with the very creatively named Town and Garage. Although less is known about the Garage track. The feather was supposed to return in this game too, and oh man, it got scrapped, what a shame. The thing that weirds me out the most is the original order of the tracks. Now the Mushroom Cup was all the same, but then it's changed a bit with Banshee Boardwalk being the first of the Flower Cup. Okay, that's a bit weird. Then I scrolled to see where a Toad's Turnpike landed on the list and...
Okay guys, we're wrapping up development. We have a track based on this character. Where should we put the track? Last track.
But the development history is massive with so much changed, so not to waste any more time, go check out the cutting room floor for more info. Finally, the game released on December 14th, 1996 in Japan, February 10th, 1997 in North America, and China got it December 25th, 2003. Okay, to keep a long story short, China, they hate video games. Basically, most gaming systems were and still are banned from sale in China. Nintendo found a loophole and developed the iQue player. And this system is so hard to come across in America as it stayed a Chinese exclusive. It's just so weird to see, and you can probably guess that these cost hundreds of dollars to buy. This is not worth it. Okay, for one, it's just an N64 with pre-installed games on the console, and two, it's $700. That's all I need to say. Okay, enough stalling, it's time to talk about the actual game. Mario Kart 64. It's a very odd game when it comes to single player since you get all the characters and tracks from the get-go. Being a Nintendo 64 game, the developer's main goal was to make a fun multiplayer game, but even without anyone, the game is still really fun. You have the basic modes you can expect from Mario Kart, those being Grand Prix, Versus, and Time Trials.
But in multiplayer, you get the choice of Battle Mode. Now, we may have an issue there. I started a riot, and I don't think the police want to talk to me right now.
You got 4 people stabbed.
But what's Mario Kart without multiplayer? It's like a marriage without divorce. You can't have one without the other. But for now, I think we should discuss the gameplay.
Mario Kart 64 is a pretty weird game in single player. You see, this game brings up an interesting debate about gaming as a whole. Should everything be unlockable at the start, or do developers need to add incentive to play? This question, I feel, is on a game-to-game basis. For example, Smash Ultimate needs you to unlock all the characters because it gives you an incentive to not just jump straight into online. However, a game like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a re-release, so it wouldn't make sense for them to make Wii U players unlock everything again.
Or it may be a f***ing idiot, that's also a possible option.
With this in mind, I would say a progression system would definitely improve this game because it of course gives some worth to playing by yourself. Also, Time Trial is slightly more worth it in this game because it has 3 full tracks with staff ghosts. But the game now gives you mushrooms to start your race, which makes this mode perfect for practicing shortcuts.
Damn it, I almost had that one.
Now onto the tracks themselves. Comparing this game with its predecessor, it's just so amazing what they're able to do on their first 3D Mario Kart. The tracks in this game are really fun, that should be no surprise, but the circuit tracks, while being pretty basic, are at least discernible from each other in this one. Koopa Troopa Beach is probably one of my favorites, giving you some ramps for you to just run directly into a solid rock wall. How fun. Choco Mountain has this giant gap that could send you back to an earlier point in the track. Damn it. But all the tracks are at least decent. However, the tracks do have some issues. Namely, the respawn system is really funky in this game. That Choco Mountain section isn't the only place where this happens. Most infuriatingly, Wario Stadium has multiple ramps across earlier points in the level, alongside this track specifically being the second longest in the game to begin with, so if you get hit by an item before the ramp, tough luck buddy, you won't make it. And oh yeah, the tracks won't end sometimes. Wario Stadium and Rainbow Road take forever in this game. Not like in the other games where long tracks take anywhere between 3 and 4 minutes. Rainbow Road specifically takes 6 minutes. I'm pretty sure I can get my high school diploma before finishing these tracks.
Those were the worst 6 minutes of my life. It was simple, but it was incredibly long. And worst of all, I got blue shot on the final lap.
To keep this negativity train rolling, let's move on to this game's most infamous feature, rubber banding. Here's a quick gameplay lesson. Rubber banding is a term used in racing games for computer players. How it works is computer players are set at a default speed, and if you're, say, really bad and far behind, the computer players are meant to slow down. But if you're really far ahead in a race, the computer players will speed up to ensure you have competition. I've seen shade thrown at Mario Kart Wii and DS for this issue, and I must say, what the hell are you guys talking about? I'm saying this because Mario Kart 64 has the most egregious use of this feature. The computer players are always going like 20 miles an hour faster than you. Sometimes, even with a mushroom or star, the computer players will still go faster. Why? Because they just can! Speaking of those items, this game introduced new items to this series. Such classics like the banana bunch, 5 bananas, golden mushrooms, a spammable mushroom, fake item box, an item box that will hurt you, and triple green and red shells. Literally just 3 revolving shells. But this game also introduced one item to the series. One item so terrifying it gave kids of multiple generations PTSD. Giant banana peel. Moving on, or I guess you could say drifting on, we should talk about the drifting. It's not great, but let's give it some credit, it's still better than Super Mario Kart's. To pull off a drift in Mario Kart 64, you rotate the stick back and forth, similar to what's in future titles. What makes it more annoying is that you need to time it. If you just try and tilt as fast as you can, the game will just not react. Now, is this me being bad at the game?
Yeah.
Once you get over these issues, however, you uncover one of my favorite N64 games. Now, I did just rag over the game for a long time, so we should probably go over some of the things I actually like about this game. I did mention some tracks earlier, but I did not go in depth enough. Each track is pretty unique within their own right, so let's begin with Luigi Raceway. It's one of the more unique first tracks in the series. It has a tunnel. Yeah, not much is needed to have that title. Moo Moo Farm. It's a tiny course with tight turns having Monty Moles to ruin my day. Koopa Troopa Beach. I love beach courses, and this one's music just makes it for me. Calamari Desert has this funny train gimmick, so you get to see Toad get run over. Thank God. Toad's Turnpike. I fucking hate you in Mario Kart 8, and here you're just as, if not more annoying. Frappe Snowland has a huge Mario snowman and has a pretty cozy vibe overall. Choco Mountain. I love you in 8, and I fucking hate you here. Mario Raceway. I don't know what it is, but it just has a different feel compared to the traditional circuit track. Maybe it's because it's in Wii, maybe that. Wario Stadium. It's just way too long for my attention span to care. What I usually end up doing on this track is just using that one big shortcut to cut off half the race. Sherbro Land is the definition of a forgettable track. I love snow tracks, but ice, I'm not too sure about. Royal Raceway is easily the best circuit track in the whole series. Figure 8 Circuit is a close second. But the reason this course is remembered in the first place is the castle section. I'm so happy they blocked this section off in 8. Bowser's Castle. Okay, this version I love. Bowser's Castle in the other games is always just, ooh, fire bars and lava. Now, there is lava in here. However, the music has a dungeon aesthetic and the courtyard area is very cool. Also, didn't know Bowser liked gardening. Very cool, Nintendo. DK Jungle Parkway feels like a safari ride going through a dense jungle with DK committing battery with his balls.
Spike balls.
The music is pretty forgettable, but the bridge section is iconic for the amount of bullshit that happens there. Yoshi Valley is easily one of the best things that came out of this game. The track just has so many splitting paths to the point you can't even see your placement until after the race. After Yoshi Valley, I can't wait to see the semi-final track. Banshee Boardwalk.
Oh, why am I digging, you ask? Well, you see, I'm trying to find the one person who likes this track.
And finally, we have, oh wow, Rainbow Road. You know, this one has the exact opposite issue of the Super Nintendo version. That one was pretty short, but had a sharper pain than the one in my arteries. This one, however, is incredibly long, and there are a lot of moments where you're just going in a straight line. I already went over most of this stage's flaws, but this stage is one of the most iconic in the series for a reason. The illuminated characters lighting up the stage with the amazing music may not feel like the ultimate test of skill for the game, but it works as a perfect way to close the game off. And that's every track. There's a mirror mode too. I mean, it's called extra mode, but it functions the same as mirror mode in all the other games. The only unique thing is that in Toad's Turnpike, the cars drive the opposite way, which makes the track worse. Great. You get it by getting gold in all the cups on 150cc, and by completing extra mode, you get a new title screen. Wow, amazing. On to multiplayer. Now you may be asking yourself, Ben, you don't have a life. How do you have someone to play with?
Well, that's where you're wrong. I found an agency just for this stuff. The Multiplayer Falooza Agency, the MLA. And the best part, they don't have in large print anything related to Secession. I need that clarity.
Whether you're on the main courses or in battle mode, it's hard to argue this isn't some of the most fun you can have on the 64. A lot of complaints have been thrown at the newer Mario Karts over one big issue: the battle mode rule set. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you're stuck playing a time-based match where everything is just score-based. The worst part is dying in these games is often inconsequential. You just respawn with no penalty. It doesn't matter if you're shit at the game. If you just spam items and hit enough people, you could probably just win. It's more engaging for the people who died, I guess, but who plays this mode? In comparison, Mario Kart 64 has a very well designed rule set. It's elimination based, so once all your balloons are popped, you're out. Or are you? After you die, you will be respawned as a bomb car. I'm not making this up. Driving into the remaining players will, of course, make them take damage. It's one of the coolest features that just never returned. It doesn't fully ruin the game because it's a one-hit thing, and it speeds up the match for the eliminated players.
Okay, so I think I figured out what makes this battle mode tick. Bull.
Battle mode may only have 4 arenas, but the ones here are some of the best in the series. all the arenas focus on simplicity. For example, Big Donut and Skyscraper are just glorified circles. Double Deck is a square with a square below. And the most iconic in my opinion is Block Fort. It may be 4 elevated squares, but the super large and spread out battlefield makes fights here so much fun to have. But all the stages here are amazing because of one thing. They don't feel the need to have crazy gimmicks. They just make a large area so driving around waiting to hit your friends just feels even better. Now, battle mode as a whole may not have peaked here, but it was so damn close to. And that's Mario Kart 64. Now, as of today, does it hold up? I would say honestly, for the most part, yeah. This game is riddled with weird issues like Lakitu, CPU rubber banding, and certain tracks taking forever, but this game is meant to be played with your friends, so you won't necessarily be thinking about any of this really. You'll just be thinking about how fun the core gameplay is.
Okay, I came to my consensus, but something feels weird. Like something's missing. I think I got it. It needed a cross track.